I don't know about you, but I love meeting people, fellow business owners, to know about their entrepreneurial journey, what drives them every day, and the challenges they've overcome. And one such conversation I was having with Zinal Doshi, who is the founder of the Flapper Life. Zinal moved from a banking career to entrepreneurship while being in sales. So this is something very interesting that we are talking today, and Zinal is here to share so many insights from her corporate plus entrepreneurial journey into sales and business. But before we get into conversing and talking with Zinal, just remember to follow and subscribe Ace the Sale on your podcast listening app, because it enables us to reach many more entrepreneurs just like yourself, helping them sell more and grow more. And now, without further ado, let's bring Zinal onto the show. Fall in love with selling as you acquire the right mindset, selling style, and sales process that helps you take your business solution to more prospects, potential clients, and the world at large. If you are a women entrepreneur who is looking to get more sales, scale, and sustainability in your business, you have reached the right place. I'm Roshni Baronia, your host for the show Ace the Sales, which is all about helping you bring your authentic and influential self to each sales conversation. Hi Zinal, welcome to the show.
Hi Roshni, so excited to be here and thank you for inviting me to your podcast.
Oh, pleasure is all ours. Please tell us a little bit about yourself.
So I am an ex-banker, currently an entrepreneur of a company. I wouldn't want to call myself anymore as a startup. At times just talking about startup becomes pretty, cliche. Like it's been now 6 years, so you better call, yourself as an entrepreneur of a company. But yeah, I have been into, different industries. I was into banking industry for a good about 14 years. And now in tourism industry is also good about 6 years. So I run a travel company, which is only for women. We do curate journeys only for women, where there are different kind of experiences in terms of, activities, experiential, domestic, international. And yeah, that's what we kind of do. It's been an amazing journey so far. And very happy to be talking to you about it.
That's really exciting. It sounds like a dream, women solo travel and women group travel. That is definitely on my bucket list. And I'm surely going to get to the Flapper Life to book one for myself. But tell me, what was your first visit like in your agency, in your travel company? Where did you take your group for the first time, and any special or fun memories from there you can share with us?
Okay, so the first one that we planned was Goa, just for a very simple reason, because you want to just get comfortable with what you're getting into, and that's most comfortable destination for everyone. And the first trip that we had kind of announced didn't happen, okay, because no customer turned up. When I got started, I thought, okay, it's a very common thing. People put events and women come for trips. It's not easy. It took me 2 failures of trips for nobody turning up for my trips. And the third trip happened to Goa, where we had only 3 women joining us. Okay. Now that was a time 5 years back. And now is a time where we take at least a group of 30. So yeah, it's been a journey, but an awesome memory from the first very trip was, till now, I think women love to be themselves. And I think that is the best memory I have. Women had really loved that trip because they just had told me one thing, that, we would want you to grow beyond and take more and more women on your trips, because this is something what we want. And I think that has been biggest inspiration for me to run the Flap Life.
True. And that is such an important piece you've highlighted, Zinal, that we think that from day one it will be a huge success, but we have to come face to face with reality as an entrepreneur. And it's good not to give up and keep on the journey. And it's a learning curve always. Thank you so much for sharing that. And so you have a travel agency which is focused only for women. I remember when I started my consulting practice in 2016 for women-led businesses, I heard so many people say to me that, why are you limiting your business opportunities? Why are you restricting to just a niche group? So what was it like for you when you started a travel agency only for women? Did you hear any such things?
Definitely. So I'm going to just make a very small correction here that we are not a travel agency. We are a travel community for women. So honestly, women are more inclined towards community spaces. Like if you see, there are so many groups which have women coming together and talking about similar thing because they feel connected. They have common issues to talk about. They have so much to share about each other. And I feel these communities are spaces where there are no judgments and there is only support. So, many a times, like what you just rightly highlighted, that a lot of people say that why are you limiting yourself? Of course, even I have heard the same thing. But I think there's so much when women come together, there's so much power together, right? So it is a myth that women do not support each other. I feel women support each other even more when they come together. So I think that was one of the reason why I was very specific on just focusing on women focused groups. And when I got started, it was a dream for me, or maybe you can say in professional language as an ambition to have a women centric platform. But now it has become purpose of life. For us now, it is about empowering women not only to kind of make her travel decisions, but it is also to inspire them to follow their passion and get them what they deserve. So, yeah, that's what it is to be into a women focused group.
That's super awesome that you started out with a community feeling. And that is so important for women because that's where they find the support because they've had shared experiences and they connect better. And then the group probably does not feel like a stranger anymore because they have so much to share with each other, right?
Absolutely. In fact, with strangers, what's the best part being traveling with strangers is that nobody is going to judge you because nobody knows your story, right? So that's why the communication becomes even more better because there's like when you're traveling with your friends or family, there is a baggage of judgment. There is already a conversation happened on it, or there is already a preset mind to it. But when with strangers, you can just talk it out.
Yeah, you can be more free and yeah, it's a non-judgmental environment. Very good. And I love the thought process and now the transition that it started with an idea, but now it's become your purpose. That's beautiful. So, Zinal, going back a little bit in time to your banking career where you were in sales. So, what was the thing that you loved about being a woman in sales back then? And what is this that something which is not very favorite of yours? You didn't like doing much.
Okay, so honestly, sales does not differentiate in gender. I don't think there's anything like men and women in sales. When it comes as a function, it is your convincing power. It is the society who differentiates it. I remember a few years back, it was like, oh, you're in sales. How do you take the pressure? Those kind of comments were always there. And I think there was a lot of stereotyping, women had to face. So I'll take the one where what I really didn't like about being in sales. I think there was one thing, generally people would stereotype women that, okay, if female calls for appointment to a customer will never say no. And then men can take over, when they are going and closing the call. Like, why would customer do that? Customer would say yes for the product. He would not say yes because a woman is calling. So there was a stereotyping. Of course, a lot has changed in last few years, and so many women are doing some amazing job in this sales function. So that stereotyping is definitely has progressed. I want to believe that it's no longer there. So that was the only thing that I didn't like about back in sales. But what I think I loved about meeting new people, new energies, new businesses. And there's so much that you learn from new people that you meet. There are always a new experience. And particularly for sales, there is always a different strategy to close that sales. There is always a different strategy to kind of persuade that customer in a different manner. So I think, yeah, it just makes your skill stronger. And I think it makes you a better person and helps you in building more other skills. So yeah, that's what I loved. And I'm sure you can feel it from my power that I really love sales.
Yeah, actually, that's what got you onto this podcast because when we were talking earlier in one of our meetings, so you were someone who talked very confidently that you really love sales, and this podcast is all about helping women fall in love with selling. So you definitely had to be on this podcast. And I love the fact that you mentioned that sales empowers you and pushes you to think on your feet, to be creative and think out of the box, to connect in new ways to with your client or a prospect. So that's a good thing, which probably no one else has talked about on this platform. So thanks for mentioning that. So when you were in banking, Zinal, what were the three lessons probably you defined for yourself, or someone gave to you, or somewhere you read that came to you about sales? So any three things that you could recollect from your journey in sales?
So I'll tell you my real examples or my real experiences, Roshni. I think sales has been an amazing journey, and you always learn it on the go. The first most important lesson that I have learned is you have to help your customer first. That is the first most important lesson of sale, that it's not always about the number. It's not always about the pressure. You must first help the customer out. What is his requirements? Try and understand what is that he's looking out for. Build a relation, and then try and sell what you really want to, like in terms of product or your services. That is the first lesson. And trust me, this is a hack that probably I'm sharing, that I used to do it, that your most unsatisfied customers are your future customers. Somebody who's had a bad experience with you in the past and you're still wanting to get back, get them back into the business. I think those are the best customers, and those are quick customers. So I think that really works. Of course, I can't share a lot of examples here, but what a customer really wants, they just want you to hear them out. If they know that there is somebody who's there to listen what I'm really trying to say, your half sale is done. Then it is only about signing up. Because I think we all in our lives, we want somebody to hear us, right? Like what we really want. So I feel helping your customer first is the most important, I would say, a step towards doing sales. Second, I think the biggest learning that I've had is that sales helps you to take failures in the positive stride. Because to a lot of our sales conversations that we do, we often hear no, right? Because not 100% that you sell is going to be a yes. Probably 10% is the conversion ratio. So 90% you're just going to get a no on the face. And that helps you actually in your real life examples also, like your real life situations also. It just helps you to come back very positively, because you know this is part and parcel of life. So I guess that is my second big learning. My third big learning is, it will sound very cliche. Most of the people talk about it. Most of the people write about it, but never ever give up till the last minute. So give your best till you have the result out. And I will share one experience here. I was trying and persuading a customer for about 2 years. Okay. And it took me about 20 meetings to convince him to obviously sign up with us. And obviously a lot of people told me, are you mad? You're like talking to a customer, meeting for 20 times. But trust me, Roshni, when I say I got the biggest deal ever, like ever in the industry. So yeah, it helps you. I mean, and what helps is the persuasion. So you must never ever give up on. So these are my three big learnings, which I take it wherever I go.
That's wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing that, because, yes, it is too easy for people to lose the heart and give up on following up and persuading a particular prospect, because it is taking either too much time, too much efforts, or it seems never ending. So persisting for 2 years is a huge amount of resilience and patience that you've displayed. And I think that is what sales calls for, that you have to be at it. You have to consistently keep connecting with your prospect in multiple ways, thinking again out of the box and creatively to approach them.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's always just trying different ways to kind of get them on board and help them out. I would rather use the word help them out.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. So now, when after having such an exciting career in sales where you learned so much, were you able to integrate or implement any of those into your entrepreneurial journey as well? So how did that happen?
The answer to this question is a big yes, because I don't think there's anything or any function of a business can be without sales. So, it is a myth that sales is only about numbers and pressures. I mean, that's how people relate to it. Nobody relates to it as a skill building function, So, today people say that, okay, sales is only about I have to sell a customer or I have to, but I think it's required in every function of the business. Today, if I want to convince somebody for an idea, I want to convince my employee for something, it is sales tactics, right? It is sales that you're doing, end of it. So today I feel that it has definitely helped. I would share one thing that, in one of my journeys with the customers, they very clearly said to me, and that was a very happy moment, that it's very evident that you're trying to bring corporate culture in travel business. And I think that's a big win, because everything that you learn from your any job that you've done, it never goes waste. It is always a learning, and you definitely replicate that. So yeah, an answer to you is it's a big yes in my entrepreneur journey.
But I'm intrigued to know, how is the corporate culture being integrated in a travel company? What does that mean?
I have said this to a lot of people, that industries are very different, Roshni. I mean, if you see, obviously banking is the most organized industry. Like, everything is so process oriented, and vis-a-vis when you come to travel industry, I think it's the overall. A thought process on travel, that it's considered entertainment, right? Like, for everyone, it's an holiday. So it's never given that serious process oriented feeler when it comes to travel industry. So that's exactly the reason why that integration is required. You're talking from so I'm coming from the most organized industry to an industry which needs a lot of organized way of working. All right. So that is where the integration looks like. So so when we also work, there is a process for everything that we do at the travel company. We just don't go by, okay, it's just a sign up, it's just a sale. For us, it's relationship building. And that's where I think the hint also came. Because anything that you do, you have to also build a culture around it. It's not only about starting an entrepreneur company. You also need to have a culture around it. And that's where the integration comes in.
True. So the processes and the culture, which is actually the corporate thing you are building in your company as well. Because, yes, processes systemize and aligns everyone together. I feel without a process backed business, it becomes very difficult for the team as well as the business owner to find sanity in what they are doing.
Absolutely. I think it is, I always believe that every company should have their own culture. And when I say culture, it is not only about how you're dealing with customers, it is also how you deal with your employees. What is the vision that you have? And that all is defined by the culture. So, yeah, it is very, very important.
So, coming to the last piece, Zinal, that of course, our listeners for this podcast are all small business owners and women solopreneurs. So, what would you say that would help them fall in love with selling, much like the way you are in love with selling? So, how will they enable themselves to fall in love with selling?
So I would firstly say yes to sales. I have come across so many candidates, so many people who would say, no, I don't want to do sales because, it's not my thing. I think my answer would be, before trying, how would you know that it's not your thing? Like, when sales happened to me, it was by default. I mean, it was something that it just happened to me, not that even I wanted to be into sales. But trust me, I have loved everything about being in sales, because you get to meet new people. You are always experimenting with new thoughts around you, with new energies around you. And I think the most important thing about sales is that sales open doors to multifaceted skill sets, which you need to build to be the leader you aspire to be. Because today, to be a leader, you need multiple skills, right? So sales helps you to build your networking skills. Sales helps you to build your persuasion skills. So there is so much, and that can happen only when you meet more and more people, when you fail, when you get more rejections on your sale. It will just build on. And now when I look back into my journey, I feel that, yeah, I have learned so much. I have so many experiences to share. I have so many stories to share. And that will happen only when you're ready to meet more and more people, or you're ready to just say yes to that sales experience. So I would just tell everyone, whoever is listening, that don't say no, or don't go with a negative mindset that you won't be able to do it. Give a chance to try your own skills. Maybe you will surprise yourself. A lot of people surprise themselves when they are into the sales function, and they do amazingly well.
Wow, that's awesome. That's an awesome message, that embrace the no's, but say yes to sales, because there you will be getting so many no's, yet you have to say yes to sales, because it is actually a life skill. You get to manage your emotions, you get to manage other people's emotions, understand their mindset and what's going on in their head, and so much of personal management. So yes, it definitely is something which puts you into a leadership position. Thank you so much for having such an insightful conversation with us, Zinal. It was really filled with so many takeaways and advices. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much, Roshni. Thank you for having me with you.
This crisp conversation with Zinal was full of sales insights. I hope you were able to put a pin on the thought that sales is not just about talking numbers or handling massive pressure of chasing targets. It is about helping your client. It is about being a life skill. It is about you being a leader. For more such power talks in sales, follow Ace the Sales podcast. I deeply appreciate all your love and support for the show. And if you have any queries related to sales or business growth, feel free to book a consult call with me on the link given in show notes. And then remember to join me in the next episode. Till then, take care and happy selling.